Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Live, Let, Thrive. I am your host, Stevie Stacks, coming at you from Fort Worth, Texas, and hopefully I have a good show for y'all. Maybe a great show, maybe a mediocre show, maybe a shitty show. Who knows? It could go either way because it's just me talking today on this episode 304, as I mentioned before. And I just really, let's start off with some gratitude. I'm glad I woke up today. Glad my, family woke up with me today. And I'm glad that got my health. And I'm glad I got a good hair day going on. And look at that. That's really cool. Growing my hair out again, Gotta keep it long. Long hair don't care. So this is your favorite short-term, midterm, long-term rental podcast in the world, as you know, and we're gonna have some fun today. I really it's summertime, right? And we have a lot going on. First of all, and I just thought of it right now. Summer for us United States, North America, maybe most of the world, maybe not so much South America because it gets cold down there in the summertime. In our summertime, the months that we have summer here, June, July, August, a little bit before, a little bit after, that's when everything starts getting really, really busy in North America and Europe, blah, blah, blah. So what I just realized, for like people with kids. Like I have kids, so our kids are off in the summer. We want to plan our summer vacations and then go do some trips. That's what we like to do. And a lot of other people do too, because you see the airports, they're full. All the, people driving all over the place. You see cars everywhere. Every tourist spot is hopping. This is where everybody in the what is this industry we're in? Hospitality industry. This is the busiest month. So, and it's no different for us, Airbnb hosts, short-term rental hosts, whatever you want to call us nowadays. So I just realized busiest time of year, and us Airbnbers, short-term rental hosts, we have a lot on our plate because all of our places, if you're doing it correctly, if you're doing it semi-correctly, your places are pretty full right now, and fuller than the rest of the year, right? Sometimes the rest of the year combined. Sometimes it's all happening right now. So we got that going on. And yes, a lot of us do it ourselves, or we might have a couple people helping us. We might have a lot of people helping us. So anyways, you got a team, you got a lot going on. You got check-ins, check-outs, lots of bookings. You got cleanings that are, a lot of turnovers. You got the maintenance. And that's a huge thing, man. I'm gonna dive into that a little bit today, the maintenance, because there's no easy way to handle maintenance. I mean, I thought I easied it as much as I could, but your systems always get exposed by maintenance. Maintenance will throw a wrench in your systems very quickly. So as I ramble and bounce around some different subjects today, I'll just go back to what I was saying. So busy time of year, busy season for all of us hosts, and plus the ones with kiddos and spouses and kiddos planning our travels. So we're trying to do our travels. We're trying to hop around the country or hop around the planet a little bit. I just got back from South Padre Island and had a great week there. And then a few weeks earlier from that, I went to Guadalajara, Mexico, where my wife's from, and we were there for a week also. So we did two trips already this summer. And then next week, we're doing another trip to Guadalajara because my dad and stepmom are going with us this time. And so we're gonna stay at a cool hotel over there and enjoy a week in Mexico again. But like I was saying that, so I got, three trips planned this year. One was a long road trip, the other two are flights to another country. And I want to do at least 2 or 3 trips every summer. I want to give my girls and have a boy on the way, by the way. Yay, November 9th. Gonna have a boy, baby boy. So I want to give my kids some memories, and I want to take them to cool places. And yeah, it's. I mean, they're little. I mean, but they're at the age that they know what's going on. They're creating memories in their head that's gonna last for the rest of their lives. And so I wanna do that for them, and a lot of parents do, and that's great. But the thing about being a Airbnb host, and this is the busiest time of year, and your kiddos are out of school too, so you got that going on. You know, your kiddos are at home all day and they're wanting your attention. And if you work from home, if you're doing this from home, then it puts a little strain on it unless you wake up super early, which I try to do, and then knock out as much as I can before they wake up. But so you got the kids at home, then you got the vacations planned, then you got the short-term rentals going on, and then all the craziness that goes along with that. And and if you're operating in hot places, which it seems like our whole country gets hot nowadays in the whole summertime, and there's just a few spots that's not as hot. But if you're in locations that it gets really hot, like Texas, then you got all your ACs that are some of them are going to probably go out. So it's a lot going on, and then just the regular maintenance, and then the maintenance gets ramped up because there's more and more and more stays, and then there's maintenance going on because people will break things and stain things and all kinds of things, and you got to organize all that in between all these stays that are going on. So the summertime can get pretty stressful. It can get pretty stressful, and I just really wanted to hit record today. I did I have not been doing shows the last few weeks, and a lot of it's because the travel's going out of the country and all this stuff. But I and just the overwhelm and stress of this time of year. This is our busiest time of year. So I haven't really sat down to do any podcast. I we uploaded this last week's episode is the Tiana. That one was recorded a few weeks prior, no, about a month or so prior. So we got that one up. Really cool episode if you wanna ever do something with cars as far as Turo and Lyft and hire a car and stuff like that. It's a cool episode. And then of course she has her corporate rentals. And so I wanted to hit records today. It just in one of those days, one of those crazy, crazy stressful days where everything's going wrong at a lot of the units and a lot of it's doing to the maintenance. And I'll dive into a part of it. There's a someone we manage for has some places in Scottsdale, and a big issue with those places is the everybody's favorite little gadget, the key fob. Those little bitty key fobs that are small, and so these little bitty key fobs have been the vein of our existence in this complex in Scottsdale. And so one of the things that happened, we had some bad guests there. And I'll tell you this about Scottsdale. Man, the winter months are good. Spring months are stellar. Even the fall months are pretty good. It's the summer months because like in Arizona, it's like 200 degrees over there in the summertime. So not a lot of people want to go do vacations in Arizona. So you have to kind of lower your rates. You kind of, when you do that, you're in danger of getting guests that aren't the best guests. So anyways, we had some guests that made a whole bunch of stains on stuff and got some blood on stuff and stuff. Yeah, yeah, it was a mess. So of course we're going to put in a file a claim and all that stuff for it. Well, what happened with this particular incident with the stained carpets, sofas and all that stuff. Um, we we sent out some some upholstery cleaners or people that clean not just upholstery, that's a car thing, right? They clean sofas, beds, all that stuff. And they steam clean it. Yeah, they do. They get all that stuff out for you. And we sent out some ones like yesterday, and they it's a weird deal. And this is a weird deal too, because they said, okay, we'll go and we'll give you the good price, blah blah blah. But it's gonna be, let's say, $260. We need it up front. We don't want to be stiffed, for our work. I guess is understandable. I don't know, whatever. It was a situation we had people coming in, so we needed to get this place cleaned and turned over. So we were gonna send them out. And so we sent them out, and we Zelled them the money, which is like so many red flags here. I don't know, but it was a situation we had to get it done. And so we Zelled them the money, and they showed up, thankfully, and the key fob from the previous guests was not there. And so they said, okay, we'll come back later. It should be there later. They went again, wasn't there. They took another trip. I think this happened like 3 or 4 times. They said, listen, we've come out from far, kind of far away, and y'all can't get us y'all can't get us into the complex. I understand that part. So we're not going to come out again. And we're going to keep the money as our trip expenses, which is sucks. That really sucks. And they didn't clean shit. And so we had to get a hold of another company today, and they cost more. They cost like 360 something dollars. But we're in a situation where we need this place cleaned and turned over. Hopefully, we score a good claim against these guests, and we get a payout for, hey, maybe 500 bucks or more. So it's a moot point, right? But it just goes to show that this kind of maintenance, especially at like apartment complexes, especially apartment complexes that you have to use these stupid key fobs to get in and out of the complex. You can't have just a code to get in through the gate or a code to get into your unit. You have to have a freaking key fob that opens the gate, opens your unit, whatever. And but I mean, I digress a little because apartments were never in the past, apartments weren't built to be short-term rentals. They were built to be, housing for someone that needs a place for a year or more. And so I can't complain too hard on them because in that case, if someone's living there and they give them two key fobs, it's going to get them to everything. Yes, that makes sense. But if you try to do a short-term rental business out of apartment complexes, then these little freaking key fobs are so easy to lose. And then you expect the guests well, they get them from the lockbox and wherever you want to put the lockbox, and then they're supposed to put them back in the lockbox for the next guest, and that gets lost. So key fobs suck. I hate. I mean, if I'm not actively looking for more apartments to do arbitrage myself out of to rent, and then arbitrage, rent, furnish, rent it out to people, whatever. Because it, but if I was back to looking for our apartment arbitrages, I would stay away from any places that did the little key fob thing. As I drink my coffee real quick. Ah, good coffee. So I would definitely stay away from key fobs if I'm gonna go look for any place. And I don't think I'd break that rule. It's just been such a headache, just a nightmare. Because we manage like 4 or 5 units in this place, or six. I don't know. It's a bunch, and these key fobs have just been a nightmare for guests, for cleaners, for the maintenance people. So if I was at another spot, I would even if it's like oh, this place is amazing, got the pools and the gym and it's a good price. Man, I would seriously have to contemplate renting the place if it has anything to do with key fobs. So stay away from key fobs. There, a lesson of the day as I ramble and ramble through this show today. Um, so what else? What else? I have written down some things to talk about today that I can't even read my own handwriting. But yeah, going back to the stress and the balance and the workers and the things that goes along with that. So the workers. So this situation, at this one complex has been really, time consuming for for my workers. And I think I've told you on previous shows how I have, excuse me, how I have my company set up. I deal with like one person. Shout out to Princess in the Philippines. And I told her, you're gonna be my manager. Everything's gonna go through you. I'm gonna set it up where I'm gonna pay you, and you can build your Filipino team over there, right? And it's easier for you to pay them. I pay one person because when you send money through those they use DEL, DEEL. When you send money through those companies, you get a fee assessed plus what's it called, the exchange rate and all that. They make the money off of you, right? But and if you're doing that, and I'm doing that for multiple employees, for in my mind, let's just say your payrolls. I'm gonna make a number. I'm not saying my payroll is this, but let's just say your payroll is $2,000 a month. You're paying a VA or a couple of VAs or whatever. Um, or anyways, I'm not saying it's that, but anyway, let's say it's 2,000 a month. You're paying on payroll some Philippine workers, hard workers. I love the Filipino workers. But let's say you're paying, three different ones, and you're sending it through these apps, so you're getting dinged on a fee every single transaction you're paying them, right? And then the exchange rate's eating it up too. And then when they're receiving it, they're receiving less on their end, because they take out what they're getting paid. So it's like it's not the optimal way to do it. If you have three employees, five employees from other countries, and you're sending each one in different transactions, you're getting a lot of transaction fees there. Where I thought it made the most sense, I was like, listen, and this happened way back, when we were transitioning from my ex-partner. We were running the business together. This happened way back because we had it set up. We were paying everybody, separately. But after the separation, the business wasn't in the best space. We weren't making, I mean, the money, you weren't making a lot of profit, plus there was a lot of debt. It was just in a bad state. So I had to like streamline things and figure out ways to save money. And one of the ways was the payroll. And so I that's what I decided to come up with, that I pay one of the Filipino employees, the manager, and then she builds her team. Because that way, they have like their Zelle inside their country, right? So they got their type of Zelle. So for us, it costs $0. This is, it costs nothing for me to Zelle something to my buddy or family or anybody really, so they can do the same thing inside their country. So they're not getting any fees or exchange rates or nothing. So let's just say I'm paying a Filipino VA, $6 an hour, right? From here, but by the time it gets to them, it might be $3 or $4, after all the fees and after exchange rates and all that stuff's taken out. So they're not getting the full amount by the time it hits them. So my reasoning was, well, I told him, in order to keep this company going, I'm gonna have to reduce payroll some, but I'm gonna set it up this way so it'll be kind of similar to what you were getting if I'm paying just one person and then they're paying the other Filipino workers um a certain amount, whatever the amount they choose, it'll be similar. It might have been a little less or whatever, but it'll be similar because all the fees and all that stuff that's coming out of our managers, the paycheck that I'm sending to one person, it's when they pay their employees over there, they can afford to pay them. I mean, you know, it'll be about the same as a transaction that's got eaten by fees that goes all the way across the other side of the planet. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So they can sell it to their employees over there and then save a lot of money in fees and afford to pay more. So all that being said, and like I said, I'm gonna lose my train of thought this whole trip. You know what? I get comments from people online that they like how when I do my individual shows, I'll just pour out my heart. This is like my therapy, this camera therapy, looking at this thing and it shows me where I'm at the moment in my short-term midterm rental journey. And so that it's like, yeah, it's my therapy. Staring at myself on a Zoom screen is my therapy. What does that say about me? Um, but they like when I do my shows, my personal shows, because it does show that I'm wrestling with these struggles. That you look at these gurus online, and then everything they do is perfect, and then you pay them money, and they'll make you perfect too, whatever. And we all know that don't work, but they don't really. sit there and spill their heart to you, tell them all the troubles they're going through because they're going through them too, man. And we've helped gurus in the past by being their back system, their operating system behind them, so they can get up there and make all the online commercials they want, to for their courses and seminars and all that stuff. But that being said, um, I've never personally paid a guru for anything. I'm doing all right. And to me, the thing that's going to teach you the most is actually doing it, and that's all there is to it. Um, I mean, networking. I'm all for networking, getting out there and talking to people and seeing how they're doing things, and then sharing how you're doing things. And we've shared a lot on this show through the years. We've shared so much information, and we believe we've helped a lot of people out, and for free. We've done it for free. There's not even any commercials on this show. Every now and then we might like there's like a coffee commercial or something, but like I said, we encourage people to go out and try it, and then we can talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Because I people will bend my ear all the time and ask, hey, how I'm thinking about doing it. What should I do? This. I'm like, okay, well, you thinking about doing it? I could try to help you find out arbitrage, and then let me know what goes on. Of course, most 99.9% people don't even take the chance to do something, but the ones that actually do, I'm happy to help. And so, as I lose my train of thought again, I'll go back to, setting up the team, setting up your workers. And the thing about trying to simplify things like that, and I did, and the company, has been doing good. Excuse me. We recovered pretty well, and I was able to bump up the pay back, some, and almost to the point where it was before. But then something happens where like like a maintenance emergency, and then everything's not going well, and then one of the VAs is overwhelmed because they're on shift, and they're having to work a ton of extra hours and not getting paid as much because, like I said, I pay one person. It's up to them to build the team. So you figure out all these frustrations spill out over an employee, which technically, well, they're part of the team, even though I told it in my mind, listen, I'm gonna deal with one person. I'm gonna deal with one person, the manager, and they're gonna build their team however. But when that manager's not on shift and things are going haywire, I'm talking directly to whoever that employee is, and then so when things go crazy and they reach out and say they're overwhelmed and this and that, and then they spill the beans to you, like, the pay, hours, whatever. Even though that technically don't have nothing to do with me because I'm paying one person, I start to see, okay, I can set things up in a certain way, but still, I guess it's like someone that owns, let's say someone owns a fast food joint, and it's up to the manager, or the person there to do the payroll and pay people and all that. And then you get a message, everything's running smooth, your restaurant's making money, you don't even go, you don't even check on it, you don't even do whatever. Um, you might go check for, whatever, just the cleanliness, making sure everything's doing good, maybe hop in, hop out, but you're not seeing all the internal struggles going on at that restaurant or whatever business you can paint in your mind. And then one day you get an email or a phone call from one of the workers there, or you call in there and say, "Hey, how's everything going?" Or you walk in and you go check on it one day when the manager ain't there, and then an employee is just freaking out and saying that they unload all this stuff on you, saying, they cut my hours, they cut my pay, or they raised my hours and cut my pay, or whatever it is, the situation, and I just going crazy here, and it's too much, too much, they're putting too much on my plate, and I'm just, I blah blah, I mean, not blah blah blah, but just yada yada yada. I don't know. I don't want to, whatever. So they unload on, and you as the owner, yes, you set up your business in a certain way. Okay, the manager, you're gonna handle hiring, you're gonna handle payroll, you're gonna handle this, but then you find out, and I'm not saying my manager's this way. I'm just saying that you'll find out that things are going on, that you're not catching, you're not seeing because you're not in it every day. You're not in that part of it. Um, And yes, I want to build a business where I don't have to do, of course, that's the dream. Do build a business where you don't have to do anything. But you kind of do. You kind of got to go in there and check out what's going on behind the scenes and seeing if people are treated right, and at least talk to them and then have these meetings, and that's what I wanted. It was eye-opening experience for me today. I want to have, even though they're not directly my employee, they're kind of they're that teammate that was on the shift while everything's going down, and I'm dealing with them, and it's kind of like it is my employee directly. I love the chain of command, but chain of command isn't always there, and that's what I'm realizing. So. How do I remedy this? I'll sit down. I want to sit down and talk to each employee and see how they feel, how if they feeling stressed, if they feeling under paid or just underappreciated, stuff like that. And then you get the real pulse of your company. And I'm learning all this shit, man. I mean I've read freaking business books and or at least audio business books, and they tell you this and that, and this is how you set it up and blah 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 blah. But and they're books. They're made to be, they're here exactly how you do it. Do it this way. Set up your company this way. Put these people in place, and it's gonna run smooth. Kinda. I mean, you still got to go in and dive in and get the pulse, and you got to talk to people. And this is a lot of this is an emotions game. People aren't freaking robots, and so even yeah, even I'll say that's so weird. Even Filipino workers, you think you know, you have a certain perception of them. They're very sensitive souls, man. From what I've experienced, Filipinos freaking hard workers, man. I mean, call any major company now, their HR or their whatever customer service line, you probably talk to a Filipino. They're hard workers. They work all hours. They're up at night because most of our businesses are open during the day, so they work midnights over there. They work an overnight shift mostly, and they bust their ass, man. And they don't. Of course, they get paid less, but it does cost less to live over there. And I love them. They're great. I just noticed and this is coming from other Filipinos that I like, asking someone one in our team or our manager or whatever. I say, hey, did what happened? Did something happen with so and so? Did they get upset? And they're like, well, they're really. He goes, Philip, you got to watch how you talk to the Filipino employees because they get upset easier. They're like, I, they're more sensitive. They're more sensitive. So if you come at them like yelling or screaming or something like that, not that I would do that, or most of the stuff we do is WhatsApp anyway. So it's a WhatsApp message, and it might sound strongly worded. They get yeah, they're just more sensitive souls, and so you really got to watch that. And not, what I'm like I said, what I'm noticing, I really need to spend more one-on-one time with my employees, getting to know them better, what's going on in their lives, because it's like I said, this is an emotions game is what I'm learning. It's not just you're dealing with a computer system or a software or a robot or whatever, as much as we'd like to think that way. And I mean, a lot of us have discovered that the hard way by dealing with customers. And then learning how to talk to people and to treat people. And most people just want to be heard. And that's what you learn, and you just listen to their problems. But if I have friends that are hosts, and they're like, screw these people, I ain't giving them shit kind of thing, and just like that kind of attitude, and I'm like, that's not the answer, man. To me, that ain't the answer, and that ain't the answer with your employees either. It's a balancing act as far as money and everything. Of course, you need money for your company to stay afloat, but it's like an emotional balancing act as well. And so I'm learning that, and it hit me pretty hard today, and I just really needed to hit this record button and get it all out. But I want to be a better, um, I guess, owner, operator, default manager. Even if you don't want to label yourself a manager, you're managing your freaking business. You're managing the people that are managing your business. So I want to become better at all that. CEO, whatever the term you want to use. Um, and yeah, sometimes it takes an explosion, an explosive situation to put you on the right track. And I'm happy to admit my failures. I'm happy to admit that, hey, I tried to make things as simple as possible and simplify, simplify, simplify to a point where I really don't have to do too much and the business keeps running. But it's my job to keep the damn thing on the track. So I'm happy this situation happened today with the whole maintenance explosion and stuff. Not literal explosion, knock on wood. But aside from that, things are going good. The business itself is doing really good, thank God. And the busy season and the travels and this all this craziness is still overwhelming. But we're doing it really, really strongly in corporate rentals in our houses. And that was part of the thing too. I had shuffled people around at the company, and this might be some growing pains from the shuffling around because I pulled one of my great employees off of day shift that was doing operations with the team. There's day shift, of course, afternoons, midnights, whatever. And I pulled them off a day shift. So they reshuffled the workers. And this other worker, shout out to Manu, he's out in Argentina. Um, he came aboard and was helping me big time with the corporate rentals, the corporate side. And then he got when we structured everything, he went to the ops side. And so I will say that the I pretty much was handling the corporate, but of course being an owner and then being everything else, I didn't give it the 100% attention it needed, and it was doing okay, but it wasn't doing as great as it could. And then Manu would help after he got off shift, and he would get bonuses for whoever he landed. But still, he would get overwhelmed too because operations is really busy, and the day shift especially. So I was able to pull him out of there and put him 100% on corporate. Now, after the company recovered and was doing better, I was able to pull him off and then put him on just strictly corporate again. Oh man, what a difference. All of our houses that we that we own, manage, arbitrage are full. They're all full with corporate stays. And that's a whole different animal doing corporate rentals, as you know. Of course, what I mean by corporate stays are they're 30 days plus stays. Usually around 3 months is what they book for. And most of these people are that we're dealing with are insurance stays. People that are fire or flood at the house or whatever the situation's going on. They can't stay there. They're getting it renovated. The insurance company will put them up in a house that's similar to theirs. And so we've been building that part of the business for a long time. And if I had to venture a guess, I would say it's less houses, of course. Mostly we have mostly apartments and we mostly manage apartments and we have the management side. But I would say the corporate stays make up for half of our income. And I would love to grow that side of it because once you get someone in there for like a 3 month, 6 month, 9 month stay, whatever, it's a lot easier than getting someone, doing the every single day getting a new guest in Airbnb or every few days or every week, whatever. All the turnovers, all the cleanings, all the maintenance, all the good guests, bad guests, middle guests, whatever. It's so much more work doing short-term rentals, and I love midterm rentals. Been doing it for a while now, and it pays really well, and it's a lot less work, and so to me, I would love to keep growing that side of it, and I am still growing that side of it, and and this question came up today. I'm like, most of our trouble comes from the short-term side. Most of the trouble in our operation, most of the headaches and the maintenance and all that, crazy guests come from the short-term rental side. And and that side of the business is a bit bigger than the corporate side. But corporate side makes a lot more money and brings in about half of the income of what, or more, it could be more of what the short-term side brings in. So my question to myself was, and I hear Tim Ferriss, my buddy Tim Ferriss, I call him my buddy. Maybe I'll get him on the show one day. So one of the things Tim Ferriss always says is, what one decision could you make that would make all your other decisions easier, right? And or eliminate all your other decisions. I screwed up the quote, maybe. I don't know, but you see what I'm saying. So what one decision could you make right now today that makes everything else easier? And that's what's been crossing my mind lately is like, should I just jump out of short-term rentals altogether? As far as, all the arbitrage apartments we have, um, even management, even managing other people's short-term rentals, because that brings on just as much headache, but it's like less pay. I know, they say management is less risk, which is true. You're not paying the rent, you're not paying utilities, you're not on the hook for all that. But at the end of the day, it's less money because it's, if a place profits $1,000 or a couple $1,000, then it's great for the owner. But we still get paid just a percentage of the gross, whatever it is, 15 or 20%. And it's not near as much as what they're making. But like I said, in down times, they're not making anything, or they could risk losing money. That being said, managing other people's short-term rentals is time consuming. And if you don't have a threshold in place saying it's not worth all the headaches if I'm not clearing, $500 per property on managing short-term rentals, then it's probably not worth doing. That being said, we had our system built where we can do management and we can do our own arbitrage, which we've been doing, and then we have the corporate side, which almost operates entirely by itself. And like I said, it brings in a lot of money. So my question to myself, and I'm by no means saying I'm gonna do this, but if I made that one decision to just, okay, no more short-term rentals. And I don't mean that 100% because I still want to get my corporate rental, the houses that we arbitrage or the houses that we buy in an area where you can do short-term rentals because I want that flexibility. I want to be able to do corporate, yes, and fill them up for 3 months, 6 months, or more at a time. But I want to be able to fill in the gaps when we don't have that next big stay coming through, because it could be a few days, it could be a few weeks, it could be a month or more until you land that next big fish. You never know. I mean, you keep fishing, you kind of know how your place does corporate wise, but you never know, and you want to be able to fall back on the short-term rentals. That being said, if I built my company that way where it's going to be corporate first and we're only going to deal with houses, we really niche down to what is making us the most money, then that would mean I'm just going to let all my leases expire at all my short-term rental arbitrages that I do, and then maybe not do arbitrage out of, or maybe not do management out of apartments anymore. Now, I would still be open to doing management out of houses that fit the criteria because it would be the kind of the same thing if the company is built to attract corporate first out of houses that are 3.2s or more in a good area that we know is going to do pretty good corporate wise, but yet you can do short-term rentals there. I'm cool managing those all day, right? Because it's going to be less headaches, going to be heavy corporate, and it's going to be a lot less short-term rentals. So what does that do if I made that decision to go that route, right? If I went corporate first, no more apartment arbitrages, no more managing apartment arbitrages, and only doing 3.2 plus family homes, and that'll be, yeah, like I said, corporate, and that you could do short-term rentals. So I would look to it like this. It would be a house, for example, would be like renting out maybe 95% or more through that year as corporate, and then like 5% of that house would be short-term rentals because I don't want to do it, I don't want to do half the month short-term rentals. I just need it there in case for a few days, up to a week. Sometimes that house will, I mean, I've had houses that just go back to back to back to back to back to um corporate leases the whole year, or have one corporate booking for the entire year. And so that would be 100% corporate, right? But then I've had some that are there's like a week, like 1 week out of every couple months is short-term rentals, or 1 or 2 weeks. So I guess you average it out, and I do averages in my head because, math. The company, if I built the company that way, it'll shift to 95% corporate and only 5% short-term rental. That would be a goal anyways. And what does that mean to my team in place? Well, it'll be a lot less work for them, I would think, unless I built the company in a different way where they have different tasks, where they're out there helping me to get more corporate clients, corporate guests, corporate housing provider, networking, stuff like that. It just depends, and I'm hard to say, but might not need that many employees if we built the company that way, right? It's a possibility. It just depends on what your question is to yourself about your company. Um, if you built your company in a certain way and you have 10 employees, but you built it, you said, okay, I'm going to maximize this and then minimize that. Will you need 10 employees still? The answer might be no, unless you could find something for them to do. But when you take away 95% of the headaches, 95% of the maintenance, bad guests, 95% of all this stuff, then man, it's hard to say that you're going to need the same amount of employees to run the company. Now, that streamlines a lot of stuff. You got your goals, you got your focus, you know what you want to do, how your companies want to look now. And then and you really, yeah, you just got to really examine things and say, do I still need to pay all these people to do all these things? And I think with just thinking out loud right now, I think I would keep my team on because it would still cover 3 shifts. And I do want, even if it is corporate guests, I'd still feel safer if I had, 3 shifts in place in case they needed anything or something came up. Um, but I don't know. I just got to examine it when that happens. And so I'm starting to really, really um think on that question. What one decision could I make that make 1,000 other decisions easier? And so, yeah, that was my big thought of the day, along with the other stuff I rambled on about today. And I feel better already. I got to articulate some things that was bouncing around in my head, and yeah, I can breathe now. So if you're yeah, if you have any questions for me, ask me, man. I I like to pretend like I know what I'm doing, and I know a lot of stuff. I can talk someone's ears off about short-term rentals and midterm rentals and corporate stays and all that. My favorite thing now. Um, but I don't have all the answers. I'm learning this as I go, and I ask people questions all the time, and I love having guests on that are knowledgeable in situations, and it's just you got to learn every day, man. You got to learn every day. You got to try different things every day. And you got to get out there and travel and see the world and have some fun too. Because you can't be just I mean this industry especially will suck you in and just really, grab a hold of you and not let you go. But I'm happy. Again, I'm thankful I woke up today. Thankful for my friends and my family, kiddos. Um a lot to be thankful for, man. My health and health of my family. Um, yeah, because I've gone to a few funerals lately, and it's just like that's just eye-opening. You're like, man, this our time on here, this planet's really short. Every time I see my daughters wake up in the morning, they're like a new person almost. They're bigger and they're taller, and features are changing, and just like, man, every day is just there is a new existence. And again, existential there, existence. But as I ramble on to close this show, I want to thank you all for continuing to listen. And if you want, like I said, reach out to me. Liveletthrive@gmail.com. Uh, liveletthrive.com. I think the site's still up. I don't know. I need to check. But liveletthrive@gmail.com is the easiest way to reach us and ask me some questions. Ask Micah some questions. Micah comes on he came on the show recently. It was good to touch base with my homie Micah, and I'm really grateful for all the people who've been with me in life, and then on this path to where I'm at in my short-term, midterm rental journey. And shout out to Federico, my ex-partner. I know he's killing it, and you know, breaking up is hard to do. I want to get him on the show. I want to just talk about everything, and I'm happy he's doing well, and he's happy I'm doing well. He shouts out to me on the Instagram and stuff, and he's real thankful for that I got him, helped get him to start in this short-term rental industry. And after all the craziness of a breakup happens, then you sit back and you really value, and it might take a few months, but then you really value what you had with somebody, right? And I'm not talking just romantic breakups. I'm talking like, breakups in business or friendship breakups or whatever it is. Yeah, after the time heals all, and then you remember how much love was there. And yeah, man, it's all about love and valuing and being grateful for everything. I hope I tied it up in a nice little bow at the end there. So thank y'all again. Liveletthrive@gmail.com. Hit me up, Argest Rentals, ARGEST Rentals.com. And then we got a bunch of properties if you need a place to stay or you want some help with management. And I just want to say hi. Thanks for everything. Thanks for continuing to watch and listen. Live, let thrive. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.